Hey, how's everyone doing? I just got back from my third ever Guns N' Roses concert. This one was in Jacksonville, Florida at the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. And the first one I went to was in Orlando, second one was in Miami. Those were in 2016 and 2017 respectively. So we showed up to the venue. We walk in and I immediately look at the merchandise. I was only interested in two shirts, the limited edition Jacksonville show, and then there was another one that had like the Guns N' Roses logo, but it was blue and it had the tour dates on the back. But the main focus was definitely getting the lithograph. I always get the lithograph, and especially for Guns N' Roses because they personalize every single show and have only like 300 lithographs available. So the line was extremely long, so I decided to try to beat everyone to the punch and go upstairs to that booth where I figured there'd be a shorter line, which there was. So I wait in line for a little bit and I get up there and I get the lithograph, and then the one shirt that was personalized for the Jacksonville show wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. I'll just get the other shirt with the blue logo. So she hands it to me and she's like, this is for women, sir. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I ended up just getting the lithograph, and I'm like, well, let me get my fat ass back downstairs and wait in line and see if I can get the personalized limited edition Jacksonville shirt. So the line was fucking out the ass, and I waited in line forever. And I was fully expecting to get there and then be like, oh, we're out. But they actually had it in. Here's the front. Not much going on. I think it's very reminiscent of my Miami shirt. Here's the back. Here's the lithograph. It's pretty much the same thing as on the shirt. I got number 126 of 300. So we get in the venue, and the seats I got were pretty much on Richard Fortus and Duff's side of the stage. I couldn't believe how cheap I got the tickets. They were only like $115 before taxes and service fees and all that, which I think is a complete steal. And with that arena, everything is really up close and personal, so I was so happy with the seats. The opening act was Shooter Jennings, and I didn't even see the whole thing, but no offense to anyone that likes his music or his band or anything, but I just could not get into it. I was not a fan. So Guns N' Roses came on around 8:15, 8:20. So the band currently is obviously Axl on lead vocals, Slash on lead guitar, Duff McKagan on bass, Richard Fortus on rhythm guitar, Frank Ferrer, or how the fuck you ever say his name, on drums, Dizzy Reed on keyboards, Melissa Reese on keyboards. They open up the show with It's So Easy, Axl sporting a brand new haircut. He still has his long hair, but it's just kind of trimmed over the ear and kind of slicked back a little bit. He had this hairstyle pretty much back in the late 90s. I love it when artists change up their style. This entire set list is pretty much the same. It's been the same for, for several years now, with minor changes here and there. Second song, Mr. Brownstone. Third song, Chinese Democracy. Fourth song, Welcome to the Jungle. Fifth song, Double Talk and Jive. Sixth song, Better. I also want to mention, I find it fucking hysterically funny when Axl throws his mic stand and his roadie has to annoyingly walk over to it and pick it up and put it back in the right place. It happens all throughout the show and it always cracks me up. Seventh, Estranged. 8, Live and Let Die. 9, Slither. Now here's like the first song I'm pretty much going to talk about. This is a Velvet Revolver cover, and this is the first time I ever got to see it live in person. I love the song Slither, I love Velvet Revolver, and I just am not a big fan of this cover, only because of how Axl sings it. His rendition just doesn't fit it well. He does a high voice throughout most of the song, and I just don't think it sounds that great. I wish he would just do his lower register like how Scott Weiland did back in the day, and I think it would sound so much better, but he tries to put his own little spin on it, which is cool and everything, but I just don't prefer it by any means. But it still is really cool to see it as a novelty. Who would have ever thought Guns N' Roses would play a Velvet Revolver song? Rocket Queen, You Could Be Mine, Shadow of Your Love. Now this is another song I'm seeing for the first time live in person. Then they move on to Attitude. Now this is one that it just cracks me up every single time I hear it, because man, after all these years, Duff is still doing Attitude for his solo spot. He also does You Can't Put Your Arms Around a Memory as an intro. Then we move on to Civil War with the Voodoo Child outro. Yesterday's. Now, this is one I'm glad is in the set list. Yesterday's is one of my favorite Guns N' Roses songs, so for that to be in the set list is really cool. Second time seeing that one live. Then they move on to Coma. Glad they're still playing that one. Such a classic, legendary track that I don't think gets enough credit. Slash does his guitar solo with Maggot Brain, Sweet Child of Mine, Wichita Lineman. Now here's another one I'm seeing for the first time ever live. Right around this time was when the show honestly kind of got a little bit too slow, and you know, a lot of people were sitting down, and I just don't really care for this song in general. It's been in the set list for I think like a year and a half. Move on to Wish You Were Here with the Slash and Richard Fortus guitar duet. November Rain, Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden cover. Rest in peace, Chris Cornell, and God rest his soul, but you know, I don't think we need to still be playing Black Hole Sun in the set list all this time later. Like, it made sense back then, but I mean, years later now, I don't know why it's still there, to be honest. Knocking on Heaven's Door with Only Women Bleed intro. Then you got Night Train. I felt like Axl's performance on Night Train was actually really good. I felt like his voice was way stronger than it normally is. I felt like he put a lot more effort into it. And that was great to hear, because I mean, Night Train's one of my favorite GNR songs too. And then the encore is Don't Cry, Madagascar. First time ever seeing Madagascar live in person. I was really happy about that. I love Madagascar. The only thing that sucked was the Martin Luther King Jr. speech. I couldn't hear it. I don't know if they had a technical difficulty where it didn't play. I don't know if the volume on it was just low and I couldn't hear it, or what the deal was. But I was disappointed to hear that, because I love that part of the song. Then they played The Seeker and Paradise City to close. During Paradise City, when Axl threw his microphone out in the crowd, I specifically watched to see where it landed, and oh my god, these people went fucking insane trying to get it. Looked like this one guy flew from the fucking nosebleeds to catch it, and everyone was literally looking all over the fucking ground for like the next 5 minutes. I don't know how you wouldn't find that immediately. I will say, the show was 3 hours long, and some people are probably gonna, you know, hate me for this, but I think it's too long of a show, to be honest. I think it should be around, you know, 2 hours, 25 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes tops. I really don't think you should take it as a negative. I just think they should pack more of a punch in a shorter show than what they're doing, and they need to take out a lot of these covers. I mean, if you're gonna have a 3-hour show, at least have like 98% original material. Now, I know a lot of the things I'm saying right now do seem negative, but I will say it was a really good show. I thought Axl's voice sounded good. I can't stress enough, when you watch him on YouTube, you can hear him way more clearly than you do at the stadium. But when you're at the stadium and with the acoustics of everything involved, you don't even notice how much Mickey Mouse he's using. Anything bad with his voice, you know, just pretty much gets drowned out by the guitar or the drums or whatever. But when you're hearing like a perfect crystal clear audio of it, you can hear every little mistake, and like, it's gonna be so much more critical. But I didn't have any problems with his voice. Slash was, you know, awesome as always. No complaints there. Duff had a Shooter Jennings shirt, which I wasn't expecting. Richard Fortus did a lot of guitar solos. I was actually surprised. I feel like he did more guitar solos in this show than the previous shows I've been to. Frank's drumming, I thought, was actually pretty different than the previous shows. I feel like he definitely has slowed the tempo down on some songs, and then I don't know if he sped the tempo up on multiple songs, but I definitely could tell on The Seeker he sped that shit up like crazy. And I don't feel like he's doing as much like dramatic shit where he's like the only thing you can focus on. I know I had that problem with him. I feel like he's toned it down a bit for sure. Dizzy Reed, I mean, what can you say about the guy? The only thing I kind of laughed at was he was wearing a ball cap and his hair was in like a tiny ponytail in the back. And I was just laughing because I swear, I don't know if anyone has ever noticed this or ever talks about this, but every time Axl has changed his hairstyle, Dizzy changed his hairstyle too. Like back in the 90s, they both had long hair or whatever. And then in the 2000s, Axl goes with the braids, and then Dizzy goes with the braids. Axl takes the braids out in late 2000s, and so does Dizzy. Now Axl gets a short haircut, and now Dizzy has his hair like up in a ball cap, and his hair looks short too now. Something a lot of people have been freaking out about is the alternate set list. They have this list of like songs that they might throw in every night. One of those songs is Hard School, which is that song that leaked a few weeks ago. They haven't played it, and they haven't talked about it. I know they have sound checked it. I don't know if they did it with Axl. I would imagine no, they haven't done it with Axl. But I was really hoping they would play that tonight. I would assume it'd be in the encore, but they didn't, which is disappointing, but you know, I expected it. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.